The market is crashing! The market is crashing! We're hearing everyone talk about this. We're gonna talk about it in this video and we're getting started right now.
I'm a local realtor here in the Venice Sarasota area and I work with people from all over the country really, and I hear this a lot.
And we talk to a lot of builders too, so we kind of get some inside information about what's going on that side of things too.
If you're looking to move to the area, make sure to call, text, or email me. My information will be in the description box below.
So one thing we've been hearing a lot, and we've addressed this in some videos, is some of the changes that are happening right now. Like some people have been crying like market crash for like a year and a half, and some channels have been saying it already was happening like back then, and now they're like trying to claim it now that it actually is starting to maybe change. But I think right now there are some things in place that could cause some changes. Obviously inflation, obviously the price of a home going up because of the interest rates rising, and then on top of that, you know, we'll see what happens, but like building supply costs, we have heard rumblings that that's starting to go down, and we'll see if that trend continues. So before we get into it, one thing we want to get out of the way is kind of like what we've been seeing on the ground level and kind of where we sit on everything. Trying to have someone buy a home has been very difficult. A lot of the people that she gets from like YouTube, social media, and it's just like there's no inventory. People don't want your offer unless it's a cash offer for the most part. So it's harder to get a house if you're financing. Yes. And places are getting multiple bids, so even if you are doing cash, you might get outbid or they might like your offer better. So it's been very frustrating on our side, and we would probably rather the market where, like, a lot of people think like a lot of the realtors want the prices to just keep going up, and oh, it's pandemonium and it's euphoria because she's gonna make another $500 from her commission or whatever that might be. We would rather be able to sell a bunch of homes to a bunch of people. We would rather
at a lower price than not be able to sell any homes because we don't have the inventory.
Yeah, so just to get that out of the way, like, not that we want to see a crash necessarily, because that would be hard on a lot of people, but we would like it to become a little bit more of a balanced market.
At least, a balanced market, more realistic price. I feel like prices did get out of control, and this is coming from a realtor. Prices did get out of control, going the overbidding, it did get out of control. And because of those people that had the cash to bid on a home for over the asking price, it's because of that we're now in the market that we're in right now.
Tell us what's happening on a ground level, like what you're seeing from like the numbers standpoint and kind of builders and people that you've been talking to. I'm along for a lot of that, but she's more of the expert.
I have noticed that some homes do stay on the market a little bit longer, and by a little bit longer I mean 7 days to a week, maybe a little longer than a week. But in pretty much all instances, those homes have already been overpriced. We're talking our market has increased in value, right? So our homes are already overpriced. That just depends how you feel about it. But some home sellers are trying to take advantage of their equity in their home, so instead of listing their home at this price and equaling what the market is doing, they go up here. So what happens when their house doesn't sell? They come back down, and then their home ends up sitting on the market for a little longer than, if they would have priced accordingly. Because like I said, yes, our homes have increased in price, but homes that are listed at the price that they should be, in my opinion, they fly. Like, they sell very, very quickly.
I think you're looking too at a difference of some people trying to like really capitalize, oh, the market's here, so I'm gonna list here, versus people like, oh, the market's here, I'm gonna list just a little below that. And we'll get everyone bidding on that house, and generally we've seen people that do that have a little more success. And what we're seeing a lot too, I think, is a lot of, with people knowing that inflation's going up and that interest rates are going up, you got a lot of buyers trying to buy now before the interest rates go up, and then also knowing that the sellers are trying to offload their house while they can still get top dollar for it. So you put all that together, and I think you kind of see some people trying to like make some crazy bank right now.
Yes.
And then eventually they have to bring that price down.
Another thing to consider too with all those sales is that most of our sales in Southwest Florida, pretty much all of Florida, but our area specifically, because that's what we know and that's what we serve. Our area, most are cash sales. Those cash sales are declining, believe it or not, but they're still up there.
So maybe that is an indicator, a potential indicator. We'll see how things go, that some of that demand has been satisfied. The people that wanted to get a second home or just move here did, and they're done with it.
Yes, but that doesn't mean that the market is going to crash. It means that maybe it will level off. We don't know. We don't have a crystal ball, but
yeah. And I mean, definitely, something you have to consider is all these different variables. Again, I don't think things are going to completely crash just like you. I think maybe things will level off. I don't think price increases are going to keep happening at the rate that they were.
No.
I think that's for sure, like, okay, things are up and they're going to stay up and maybe gradually go up at best.
Yes.
But I don't think at the same time that we're also going to see things go way down because of inventory issues.
So with that being said, I pulled up numbers from the Florida Association of Realtors. And basically, I just did the Sarasota, Bradenton, Northport Metro, all of our area. And I have the cash sales and the active inventory, the median sale price, and the average sale price. So let's go over those numbers. The median sale price for a single family home is $480,000. The average sale price was $665,000. Cash sales were up 1.3% from a year ago. And the active inventory is down 28% from a year ago.
That right there is the reason why I don't think the market will crash.
Exactly.
Again, it's a big puzzle. So I think with inflation going up and interest rates, people can't afford as much house or the house maybe that they wanted. So because of that, maybe the demand goes down and now some inventory can build up. But with the shortage that there is right now, it's going to take a while for that to catch up.
Yes. My thing is, how can the market crash when first we don't have the inventory and second, most of our sales are cash?
Yeah, a crash is going to happen from a loan not working out typically.
Typically going underwater, which a lot of people and a lot of YouTubers are comparing this bubble to 2008. In 2008, during that crash, lenders were giving out money to people that shouldn't have been approved for a mortgage that big. What happened is when they couldn't afford to pay, they had to short sell their homes, and they were like completely underwater. Lenders kind of created that issue, in my opinion. Builders were building too much, lots of inventory. Right now, we don't have the inventory.
Yeah, it's a very different situation.
And lenders are like, they're not just gonna give you a loan. They're going to make sure you do have a job, that you can afford that mortgage, and they are actually calling like 3 days before closing to make sure you're still employed.
And we've actually talked to some builders too. We've mentioned this in previous videos, but just to give you a quick rundown, and some of them are like not trying to sell homes. Like they're not really advertising anymore because they're having such a hard time getting the building supply. So there's also a shortage on the building supply side of things. And that's part of the reason things are also so expensive. So, you know, if lumber and other building supply prices come down and become more available, then maybe, the inventory can start catching up. But again, like all those things, a lot of people that think this crash is going to happen in the next 3 months or something. If there were to be a crash, I think we're looking at, for that inventory to go up from all these factors, the inflation, the interest rates, building supplies being available, so builders start building more. Like that's going to take a while to happen, I think.
Yes, and a healthy inventory is at least 6 months. 3 to 6 months worth of inventory, that's a healthy inventory. Right now we're negative, like not even a month worth of inventory. So if the market were to crash, I would say in 6 months, if we have a lot of inventory in 6 months, then start thinking about, okay, the market might crash, because 6 months is a healthy inventory. If homes are not selling continuously, then maybe the market will crash. Or I wouldn't say, like, I just don't think it will crash, but I do think it might come back down.
And a couple things I think that could affect it. Obviously, like interest rates go up 0.5%. It's like a difference of like on an average home price, $300 a month. So obviously that's going to price some people out. Maybe that dries up a bunch of demand real quick, and then some things can build up. One other thing that I think could maybe cause a crash or at least a bigger correction is if there's a lot of, which Florida has a lot of these empty homes, like if it's a second home, or you're trying to Airbnb it out, or an investor or a company that's buying properties is looking to flip it.
Or people that moved here during the pandemic, they have now been here for about a year, realize they hate Florida, they don't like Florida, they miss their family, want to move back home. If all those people want to sell, then yes, obviously there is potential there for a crash.
Yeah, so I think if a lot of those empty homes especially, that's something to kind of maybe keep an eye on, or investors, not empty homes, but homes that they don't actually live in. Yes. That's something to maybe consider. But again, I just don't think all that's going to happen overnight. It's going to take a while. Maybe 6 months to a year down the road, we see a crash. But
maybe a slight correction and then a crash.
I think more
that's
than
potential.
Yeah, I think more than likely we're going to look at more of just a correction. One other thing I think we should note, this is something we talked about on the channel in some other videos, not really in these crash or market update videos, is the dynamic that's going on here with employment. That is another issue that is very real, and I think could cause some issues, especially here in like Venice, Sarasota. There's a lot of retirees that live here, but then you need people to work the jobs at the restaurants, at the stores that those retirees want to come to, right?
Mm-hmm.
The people working those jobs, a lot of times they're not making enough money because home prices have gone up so much, and then also rent goes up, to be able to afford to live here and take care of those jobs. If they can't afford to live here and now they don't have employees at these businesses, the snowbirds and all the people that came down here to retire aren't going to have those things to enjoy. Now they won't want to be here. So those are, you know, some kind of like cause and effect things to think about. And it's an issue that I mean, we are seeing wages go up. Mm-hmm. Like Walmart and Target, they all got like big banners. We're hiring starting at $15 an hour up to $20, you know. But even then, we ran the numbers on it. That still makes it tough to afford living here. So it's something to think about, and it could maybe cause some bigger corrections.
Another thing to note too is that a lot of employees, a lot of people working the service jobs, Walmart, Target, they're really young. So I would say they are maybe in high school, haven't graduated high school yet. That really doesn't affect them. You know, the minimum wage doesn't really affect them as much because they probably still live at home. But when those kids graduate, like, yes, we will need more people to work. It's an interesting dynamic here because I feel like it's either high school kids or retirees that are working those kinds of jobs.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, like, those high school kids and the younger kids, their parents, like, where are they? Because there's not a lot of jobs outside of the service industry, especially in this area, you know, basically from Bradenton all the way down to
Punta Gorda,
yeah. It's more just like restaurants, shopping, tourist type stuff.
Yes.
Stuff, you know, maybe on the water with, you know, boating and whatever else you can do on the water. I don't know how many of those people have remote work maybe, or they have something that they can do, you know, where they're traveling to Fort Myers or up to Sarasota does have a little bit more, I guess, but Tampa maybe, you know, things like that. But yeah.
Yes.
That dynamic is something to keep an eye on.
So next we have townhouses and condos, and the median sale price for a townhouse and condo, again in the Sarasota, Bradenton, Northport Metro, is $350,000. Average sale price $488,000. Cash sales were actually down 20% from a year ago, and active inventory is also down at 57% from a year ago. So I feel like those kind of go hand in hand.
That's very interesting too to think, because usually a condo is almost something you would think to be more cash sales, and it makes you wonder if maybe some of the people that would have bought a house are like, well, all I can afford now is a condo. Maybe they're going that route.
Yes. And actually I have that experience with people. They are looking for a single family home, realize that they're literally priced out of the market. So we start looking at condos. The reason the condo would be a little more affordable for them is because, you know, it's priced a little lower usually, and you do have an HOA that you have to pay, but that's a monthly HOA. So if you just budget, you know, $200 to $300, $400 maybe a month, it's more doable to go the condo townhouse route than to go the single family route.
And with those HOA fees, sometimes it always includes something.
Yes.
But sometimes it'll include, like, if it's like $300-400, it's probably going to include like a water bill or something like that. So those are expenses you would have had to pay for anyways. It's just included in your monthly HOA payment.
Next up, we have manufactured homes. The median sale price was $140,000 for a manufactured home. The average sale price was $155,000. Cash sales were down 4.7% from a year ago, and the active inventory is also down 51% from a year ago. So what we can notice from all those different types of homes is that across the board, everything inventory is down.
And cash sales, it seems like, are
leveling off, maybe coming down.
So, you know, that might be an indicator that demand is being satisfied, as we mentioned before. Also, maybe just that people can't quite afford because of the prices going up.
And interest rates going up along with that.
Yeah, so like now it's going to cost them extra. So, you know, maybe before they would have had enough for cash, but the market went up. Now they can't quite afford that, so they need a little bit of a loan. And now interest rates are going up. Now it makes it a little less affordable. So if things keep going in that direction, I don't want to say things will spiral out of control, but maybe it makes it a little bit more of balanced market, not just a complete seller's market.
Yes. So in more specific areas, I have the cash sales and active inventory for the city of Venice, South Venice, which are two different markets. I have the city of Northport, Sarasota, and Englewood. So we are going to talk cash sales and active inventory. For the city of Venice, cash sales was again down 6.9% from a year ago. Active inventory is also down at 31% from a year ago. So that's very low, and that is very, very true. The city of Venice is technically the island. There's like really nothing for sale on the island.
Yeah.
And it's because it's a beautiful area and nobody wants to sell.
Yeah.
South Venice, which is a little more affordable than the city of Venice, cash sales are up 7.7% from a year ago, and active inventory is down 6.8% from a year ago. Venice Gardens, cash sales are up 44%, which that's interesting, 44% from a year ago, and active inventory is down 31% from a year ago. The city of Northport, cash sales are up 9% from a year ago. Active inventory is down 16% from a year ago. And the city of Sarasota, cash sales are down 15% from a year ago, and active inventory is also down 25% from a year ago.
That sounds about right, because it's a more expensive market, so
yes,
not everyone can afford cash there.
Exactly. Lastly, Englewood, cash sales are down 31% from a year ago, and active inventory is also down 25% from a year ago. So cash sales are down, and so is inventory. With that being said, if you're looking to buy or sell a home in the area, make sure to call, text, or email me. I am a local realtor here. My information will be in the description box below.
If you want to know more about moving to Florida, check out this playlist right here. We got a bunch of videos for you there. Hit the like button if the video was helpful. Subscribe, turn on all notifications, and
Live breezy.